stuff, great stuff. Very good insight into the Indonesian startup ecosystem with these guys. Now we're going to go into the telco side and why telcos here in Indonesia are ideally positioned to scale startups. So on this panel, we're going to invite Tauseef Riaz, the Senior Group Director of Ooredoo Group, he's executed and managed investments in joint ventures exceeding $1 billion in technology startups. So he's currently working as a Senior Group Director for Ooredoo Group, one of the fastest growing telecom operators in the world. We're going to bring up Revie Sylviana, Senior GM Content and Application Head of Digital Entertainment for XL Axiata. She is now the Senior GM of Content and Application for that. Her main responsibility at XL is to define and handle partnerships while heading a creative team that focuses on different business streams. And finally, Teguh Wahyono, how's that, pretty good? From TelkomMetra. He manages the ICT and media portfolio for Telkom, 12 subsidiaries and 2 parent companies. Teguh develops opportunities to strengthen the company's synergy relationships and future growth. And moderating it is the man and the legend from here, from Indonesia. I know him from before he was a big boy. Rama, the founder of DailySocial.net, the other site about technology in Asia. Let's give him all a big round of applause.
Thank you, Casey. Love the sneakers, man. Hello, everyone. And I'm just going to wait for my panel to enter. This is Ibu Revie. Yeah, free sitting. Please sit wherever you feel comfortable, Pak Teguh, and also Mr. Tauseef. So how are you guys? Hopefully all good. And these people represent the big 3 telcos in Indonesia. And I've been saying a lot that telco has been very crucial in terms of helping startups in Indonesia to grow, to access to market and stuff like that. So my first question, I'm gonna learn a lot from these guys, is I noticed that each and every one of you have your own sort of efforts in terms of contributing to the startup growth in Indonesia, and everyone with different approach. Some of them invest directly, some of them help incubators, and mentoring and stuff like that. So let's start from Ibu Revie. So can you share a bit about the effort from XL in terms of contribution to the startup ecosystem?
Okay. So hi, my name is Revie. I'm from digital entertainment in XL Axiata. So particularly in XL, for the past 2 years, we've been very focusing in digital services business. So we built our own business unit in digital services, which is actually focusing for several business streams. So we're built for mobile money, M2M, cloud, mobile advertising, and also digital entertainment. So along the way, when we start also to cooperate and work with startup, we start to see a need to also building our own platform to be able to engage and support the startup community better. So maybe it would be better if I could bring up some slides. So,
yeah, can we get Ibu Revie's
so we can
slides?
give some reference. So while waiting, what I'm going to present here before, despite of the fact that XL have many business stream unit, but what we're gonna present today is something that really focus specifically with startup business, which we just actually launched around April this year, our own application store, which is we call Gudang Aplikasi or Application Factory. So we built these platforms because along the way we see the needs to really tap in and serving the customer, and it will relate to your question why actually startup will need telco to communicate and engage to the user. Is the slide ready? Okay, so it didn't show in here. There, yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna be very quick in here because I think all of you startup is much more expert on this area. But I think this is how we view how actually the apps economy is growing in Indonesia. So with the high growth of smartphone, especially in Android, along with the more sufficient or even lower price of smartphone devices, we see actually Indonesian people is still on the era of transforming and also changing the customer behavior. So we see a lot of interesting fact that despite of they are using smartphone, but some of them is actually still using the very basic utilization feature from the smartphone itself. In fact, a lot of smartphone user is not even use data. And we even found out more interesting fact. We found dual SIM card, both is actually data enabled, both is only using voice and SMS. And we start to figure out why they are not using apps. So we try to deep dive what is actually going to be their main concern along the way, why they are not yet feeling comfortable to downloading apps, and we found several findings that we would like to emphasize in here. So first of all, we know for sure that Indonesian user is active, but they're not only active, they're also interactive. They're looking for new apps, but actually not all already able to find out what is their actually basic needs and what kind of apps that actually relevant for them. Third is, this is one of the key. There is huge need of easy payment option. Indonesia currently credit card penetration is only 6%. So for the new smartphone user, they're not yet even familiar in downloading apps to purchase apps in using credit cards. So the gap of economy is actually even becoming wider and wider. Third is, like I was mentioned, they need to be sometimes recommended. What is relevant for them? And this is one of the way how telco can help, because we have the analytics. We also know what is our user behavior and what kind of preference or they would like to do. Along with our mobile advertising business, we also building up the persona for each person, like what kind of hobby and interest that relevant for them. And we can link it to what kind of application that actually relevant for them. And first of all, they are not tech savvy, so they need to be touched with something that close with their heart. Some people, maybe they can easily just transform becoming apps user when they are using chatting, something that is very general. But some of them, maybe you will be only able to convince them to using apps, maybe if you know that maybe they are a traveler, or they are a kids lover, or maybe they like food lover, or they like photo apps, or that kind of thing. And again, need something that easy to use but trustworthy, and this might something that they currently not yet perceive from the open market store. So this is what we provide. Gudang aplikasi, if you see or you entering the apps and the WAP version, is actually very simple, but we in purpose and very carefully design it that way, because this kind of experience and UI is something that is still very familiar for the very basic needs user. It might not as advanced as the international app store, but we find along the way that if customer is presented by something that relevant for them, so and it's look like just a regular browser, it's making them more engaged, and along the way when they are becoming more advanced user, they are later can download the higher version in Android. We put one-stop shop in here. We have games, application, music, wallpaper, video, social media, and if they are Excel user, they will still able to see our value-added services, which is something that already they get used to and familiar to. Why I say that if they are Excel user? Because actually, the way XL launch and build Gudang aplikasi is we already using an OTT approach. So Gudang aplikasi is currently can be accessed using any operators. And we are also on process on how to also solving the payment system. So later, this is really gonna be an independent OTT business, which other operator can also download and becoming a paid customer in there. One of interesting also a proposition that we put in Gudang aplikasi, we know that the lower price point in Google Play is actually 0.99. It's still too expensive for the low ARPU customer. So what we do in here is we offer a premium Android apps that is worth $500 if you purchase it in other app store, but you can purchase it only 10 cents per day in XL. So this is some testimony on how actually operator can help startup. So by doing micro segmentation and targeting to promoting your apps to the right customer, you can see this is two testimony from our friend from Imagine Interactive and Layang Layang Mobile. So we could see a satisfactory result when they upload it in other app store comparing with Gudang aplikasi. Some of it resulting the same, but some of it is actually have tremendous result. Like for Cepat Tepat, they can hit 9,000 download within 3 months comparing to Google Play, because practically we in telco, we can help you to touch the right customer comparing when you upload it in Google Play, which you need to fight and promote your app yourself. I think that's from me.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu Revie. And I think that's quite a bold strategy from XL. And now let's move on to Pak Teguh. I know that TelkomMetra has been dealing with startups from quite some time. Actually, one of the first with the launch of Plaza.com back then, right? And now you have all these incubators: Bandung Digital Valley, Jogja Digital Valley, and just last night you launched Jakarta Digital Valley, and you have DDB Accelerator as well, and a lot of these efforts basically to interact with the startup industry. So can you explain a bit more about the big picture of Telkom's strategy?
Rama, thank you. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Teguh. I am CEO of TelkomMetra. Basically, it's a Telkom sub-holding. Telkom realized that basically in the industry has changed significantly now, especially in the telco industry. If we see in the top line, actually, the growth have to be single digit, margin declining, and also we believe that even in the long term, we believe that telco might be not become the industry anymore. We believe that telco could become only part of the digital company business model, I think. It is why we believe that we have to move forward. Our competitor is not Indosat or even XL. I believe our competitor now is something came from different word. I believe. It is why we have to collaborate together. We have to build the ecosystem. We have to develop the startup, because we believe that the future is in the startup. I mean, in the next disruptive. It is why Telkom now developed the sub-holding named Metra, is under me actually, focusing in the non-telco businesses like ICT and the media. Let me share a bit what we are doing now and what we plan going forward. Basically, how to help the ecosystem, how to help the startup to accelerate their existence in the digital company. It is basically our portfolio. We have many things because we are a sub-holding. We have like more than 11 portfolio now. VNet basically is a payment platform, and then Metranet basically focusing on the mobile online ads, and then Medica is a part of the healthcare services and platform, and then Melon, it is a music actually, Ringback Tone, and also for the full track. And then the Metraset basically still in the legacy thing, it's satellite businesses. Now introducing the consumer satellite business, including the TV, free TV. And then Sigma focusing in the ICT data center and cloud. And then we have Infomedia, basically is a part of the BPO, and then VSO, etc. Basically it's the outsourcing businesses. And the Pointer is tourism. Tourism, it is a platform, portal, and also the booking system. We have also Belanja. It is work with eBay actually, doing the e-commerce marketplace. The next one is the ILCS. ILCS is quite good news from the ILCS because the government, I think, very serious to develop the maritime business. We believe that it will be support to the government. And then Patracom, also satellite, pin in the devices. And I think I would like to mention the last one is the MDI. We just developed the venture capital under Metra actually, focusing on the technology company. It is one of our consideration that basically we believe the industry has changed significantly, mainly in the three areas who drive the industry now. The first thing is, as Reza mentioned before, actually is the mobile devices. So it is a big shift from the PC, laptop, whatever, to become more mobile. And we believe that the future should be in the mobile. The next thing I think is the online, because everything now has become online. It is why we have something that basically we could imagine before. Like for example, like a Uber, I think everybody know here that nobody from the taxi industry basically can imagine that the competitor came from something at a different industry, like Uber. Also like Airbnb for the hotel, they come like something that from anywhere. I mean, it is why we think that nothing is irrelevant now for the startup. The latest one I think is a cloud. It is also drive the industry significant because our devices now become very powerful, very big capacity because everything going to the cloud. It is the other thing that basically will influence significantly the telco is how can we deliver the customer experience. Mainly in the social media, we believe that social media, e-commerce basically is nothing, it's a very different with telco. If telco basically we just put the equipment and then get the money, but from the social media we believe is not creating money, but creating many. It's many example, I think Lines, WhatsApp, whatever, they don't have the revenue, but they have a lot of, the EV. It is a different game actually. The other thing is data analytical. I think Reva also mentioned that basically all of the services basically now based on the data analytical and also cloud computing. So it is one reason that telco believe we have to move. We have to develop the future growth. If we just stay with the telco, I don't think telco will exist in the next 5 or 10 years forward. It is the reason basically Telkom developing, we call it like a creativity to commerce. Actually, how can we develop, how can we monetize the creativity to become something that delivering the new services for us. I think everyone familiar with this slide actually. Starting from the idea gathering, how to validate the idea, and then we have to like do product validation, delivering the MVP, and finally come with the like a revenue validation. It is that like the value chain that we are trying to involve with a startup. This is the idea that basically Telkom providing with many facilities, starting with the working facilities. We have not only incubator, accelerator, also we have like, we call it like a creative center. Because we believe that many creative basically, they don't care about the business, but they are really creative people. They just do something that basically they like. It is why we just make, we have like a more than 20 cities in Indonesia, actually to accommodate all of the creative people. They can come to these places, we give them like a cloth, we give them like a working space and also many other facilities to explore that creativity. And the creativity not have to come with the result of businesses. They just do something, it is okay. The next thing we are providing now is a seed funding. I think it's as usual because incubator. And the next thing is the global mentor. We just have engagement with the 500 startup actually to develop, to help the startup and also the local mentor to become more qualified. Basically our dream is how can we export. Not only we just export like a TKI or whatever to the Middle East, but also our dream basically we can export our startup to the world. The last thing I think we deliver is basically the market access, because you know Telkom Group has more than 150 million shop. It should be it's a good thing for the startup to the scaling up. It is the funding multiple state that we already have now. In the incubator state, basically we have 3 already now in Jakarta, Jogja, and Bandung. We call it like a Jakarta Digital Valley, Bandung Digital Valley, and also Jogja. On this stage, basically still like a seed, we call it, just to validate the business model, how to can get the idea After they just graduated from the Indigo incubator, we have the next stage is in the accelerator. We just launched last night actually in the Kebon Sirih. We can provide that one with the funding up to 2 billion rupiah. And then from the later stage, we also mentioned before we have the MDI, basically Metra Digital Investment. It is a venture company and focusing on the IT. And again, if what is the focus? Actually, we are focusing on 60% basically strengthening the core. It is a telco. And the another 40% basically we are looking for the future growth, the future opportunity. It is the distribution channel we have, more than 150 million actually, in the fixed, in the mobile, and also in the ID services as well. And one thing that we have to mention, basically Telco now already have a presence in the 10 countries. So it is a good market for the startup who can scale up with us. I think the last one, it is just some number that we have done now. Actually more than 2,200 proposal come to us. And then around 50 startup now already in the incubator. It is the selecting ratio is around 4%. And then currently we spend more than 5 billion rupiah in the some investment. I think that's it.
Sounds very good. Thank you very much. And now let's move on to Mr. Tauseef. And you've been, you have vast experience in the telco business. You've seen how telco grow in several emerging countries as well. And I think, you've been to all these emerging countries. What do you think about Indonesia and how, Ooredoo or, Indosat is contributing towards the tech ecosystem?
Okay, so thank you, Rama. Good afternoon, everybody. I have just one slide. Okay, first of all, I think you were asking me what do I think about Indonesia. So I came here around a year ago. I'm part of Indosat's parent organization called Ooredoo Group. We are in around 17 countries right now. The reason I came here was, first of all, I complained too much, so I think they wanted me out of the head office. But the other main reason why they pushed me here was that we really believe that the most exciting market in our footprint is Indonesia. Okay, and like I said, I was pleasantly surprised when I was talking to you before. When I came here, the amount of talent in Indonesia is astounding, right? And it's also one of the few markets out there which still have a lot of growth potential. So many people say Indonesia is behind China, India, which is true. But that also means there's a huge opportunity here. When you go to India, when you go to China, when you go to Malaysia, even when you go to Philippines, you're going to now saturated markets, right? There's too much happening there. This is still virgin territory, right? And basically what I'm doing is what we are doing in Indosat, we are building a digital unit. We are the new kid on the block. We are fairly young. The unit started around 12 months ago. We started with 7 people. And we said, we're only going to focus on 3 things, okay? We're not going to go all over the place, not get excited by the hypey stuff. So, for example, we are not building electric cars. We're also not building spaceships, very important, right? What we are focusing on is e-commerce, mobile advertising, and mobile financial services. Why? Because in any emerging market, this is where the first growth happens, right? When the investments start coming here, when the startups start forming, it will happen in e-commerce, in advertising, and mobile financial services. And we're saying this is where we want to invest our energies, okay? So now in the 12 months, the unit has grown from 7 people to 100 people. Not only that, we have become profitable. So within 12 months, the unit has become profitable, okay? This is what our office looks like. It's an open space, okay? It's a very low-cost office. We have not tried to create a Google here. What we have tried to create here is an open environment. Nobody, whether he is a senior vice president, a vice president, group head, division head, has an office. We all sit on open tables. It's also the only place in Indonesia, I think, where people openly swear at each other. We shout at each other, and we swear. Why that is important?
You should come by our office.
Oh, you do?
One of these days,
but
yeah.
You're not a telco.
It's pretty crazy, yeah, that's true.
So, and why we do that is because we're trying to build a real startup culture. Before we invest in startups, before we partner in startups, we need to understand startups. The last thing you want is a telecom guy like me okay, who's been working in telecom industry for 15 years, go and try to tell a startup how to grow their business, right? I might as well go to a doctor and tell him how to do brain surgery, right? That's not me. So, so we've built this infrastructure, right? We built this team that is deeply integrated into the startup scene in Indonesia, that acts and behaves like startup. They know how to live like a startup because the funding is very small. We only release 3-month funding, okay? And we say, do whatever you can. So there's always, that's why some of the swearing happens. It's at procurement and at the finance team. So that's one thing. Now what we have done in the past 10 to 12 months is also what we think is one of the most comprehensive innovation, digital innovation program in the region, not just in Indonesia. So we have, if you look at the top right, there are 4 actually components to it. One of them I'm not showing, which is the IVIC idea competition. So when we engage startups, we engage them at all levels and all stages of their growth. So the first engagement happens in a competition that we run every year called IVIC. So this year, for example, we had 800 applicants. They came in there, they pitched their ideas. We also ran a boot camp for them. And then some of the successful applicants who had the best ideas won some awards. But that's not just it. It's not just about CSR going to the world and telling them, look, we had a boot camp, right? The best guys then we pick up and then we make them a part of our ecosystem, right? We try to market to our customers. There's a lot of examples, but basically it's not just about, okay, here's an award, take a photograph, see you later, right? We make them a part of our ecosystem. The next stage is after that our startup accelerator called IdeaBox. So in the past 12 months, we have incubated 11 companies. 2 of those companies have managed to get multi-million-dollar investments from international investors, which means 2 companies have paid off for the cost of the program in 1 year. This is a very premium accelerator, so we do not try to get too many people into the incubator. First batch was 100 applicants, we picked 4. Second batch, we got 300 applicants from Australia, from Singapore, not only Indonesia, from UK, and we picked 7. Right? And what we provide to them is actually a world-class mentoring program. We plug them into the Jakarta startup scene and the mentor scene, around 50 people. The incubator is actually run by Mountain Partners, which is actually a global incubator. Okay? And Andy Zen, who was the keynote speaker today, he's one of the managing partners of that incubator. We grow them, we plug them into our ecosystem. Acceleration also means giving them access to our 50, 60 million customers, right? We take them with us and we pitch to brands when we sell mobile advertising. So I was with one of the biggest Indonesian brands 2 hours ago, and we pitched one of our incubator companies to them as a potential partner. We said, this is part of our ecosystem. They will provide solutions to you, right? So that's the accelerator. After that, we've set up a $45 million fund with SoftBank, which is one of the most innovative telecom operators in the world, and Alibaba, okay? That fund is targeting companies in growth stage. Because again, we want to go to people when they have good ideas and pull them into our ecosystem, right? When I say our ecosystem, not Indosat, there's nothing exclusive, but also excellent telecom. The most promising companies which have already products ready, we put them in our accelerator, and we give them a world-class program. That's like the PhD of acceleration, right? And companies have hit growth stage, then we put them, we invest in them through our venture capital fund. And today we're also showcasing a crowdsourcing platform which we're planning on launching soon, more for content than just for apps, okay? So this is a fairly comprehensive program, right? And when these companies are ready, we give them a priority queue in Indosat. So, you know, telcos operate in something called a long tail when it comes to content. So we have thousands of companies approaching us every month and saying, hey, can you make us a part of your data bundle? And we say, how big are you? If you're Facebook, okay, please stand in line in front of everybody else. But if you're a small startup, please stand at the back of the line, right? But the companies are part of our accelerator, our venture capital fund, our idea program. They get a priority queue. We move them forward, right? And we have dedicated people like Sylvie sitting over there. There are many other people who walk these companies around inside Indosat to the marketing team, to the data team, and say, please give them priority access. These are part of our family, right? So this is basically how we're building the digital program in Indonesia. This is phase 1, and as Excellent Telecom, like I mentioned, we're part of an international group of companies. Some of these companies we plan on now bringing outside. The closest market to us right now in our group footprint is Myanmar. We have launched a telecom operation in Myanmar. So journey step number 2 after Indonesia, once these companies have proven themselves here, is to take them to Myanmar, and then maybe to Middle East. So in summary, basically, just you were asking, like, we're very excited. The whole group, Ooredoo group, is very excited by the Indonesian innovation scene. And I think the market is going to explode. We've reached that inflection point where we'll see rapid growth happening, startups popping up, investors coming in, investors investing in the ecosystem here. Guys like us, XL, Telkom, Indosat, actually we are very well positioned to accelerate these companies, right? Get them customer base, give them access to customer profiles, data, help them promote themselves. And then also bring them abroad. So basically what we're trying to do is to bring the world to the Indonesian startups, but also to bring the Indonesian startups to the world. That's the game we're playing, yeah?
Thank you very much, that's awesome. And we have 10 minutes left, and I have like 3 more questions. So let's try to do this a bit quick. And since all the telco guys are here, I want to talk about intrusive ads. And for those who doesn't know, I think so far it's only XL and Telkomsel that does this. It's basically when you browse using 3G data, you'll get intercepted, displayed ads, and then you can move on to the next page. And I know it's optional. You can call and get your number whitelisted and stuff like that. But it's a lot of people in the industry say that, well, telco has to make money. It's really hard to make money with all these OTT apps. And I just want to know what your thoughts on it. Start with Ibu Revie, since you're the the only one.
I sit here, yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting question. So yeah, I think we are fully aware of the condition, and like we were saying, it's digital service or even like mobile advertising business is something that particularly can be considered still a baby in Indonesia. I think we're still evolving and finding what is the right medium to utilizing our network asset. But the thing is, we have to build options for the brand. Because from the brand point of view, they need also to see that the telco asset is innovative enough, and not only leveraging the core network asset like the regular SMS broadcast or MMS broadcast, but something that more innovative, that more engaged. And that is actually the main key of why is mobile advertising through telco is different and unique comparing with other environment of advertising. We do realize that currently that kind of condition and concern is happening. We're improving, and I think we also closely communicate and coordinate with the association and also with some of the advertisers that have concerns. We developed the later version that now currently already improved, and we also building other inventory as well to overcome the challenge. So let's see, I think it's still the tip of the iceberg, but we don't also want to lose the momentum of the potential size of revenue coming from mobile advertising. Especially there is actually a particular needs that can be only served through telco insight and analytics, and I think it's going to be a huge opportunity for the brand or even advertiser could be also coming from the startup, from the apps developer, from the content owners, or who is it that need to touch with XL or other telco customer, because we have the base, we have the eyeball, and that's something that we currently improving and developing.
Okay, so intrusive ads is one of the proof, basically, that telco needs to find a new way to make money outside of data, text, and voice. And the Telkomsel guy is not here, although Telkom is here, the parent. But I would like to know from Pak Teguh and also Mr. Tauseef, basically, in terms of business, right? What is the next, business model that you see is potential for telcos, especially in Indonesia, say next 5 years? What do you think it's going to be?
Thank you, Rama. Actually, as Ibu Revie mentioned before, that basically one thing that I think is very important is the quality of the traffic itself, because most of the customer in Indonesia basically is prepaid. It is, we don't have too much information about our customer because they are prepaid. I mean, they can just put whatever, the name, the address, whatever. I mean, it's not really real. It is why we actually don't understand who they are. So we have to do a lot of effort. I mean, actually even to understand who they are. I mean, we have a lot of traffic, but again, I mean, it is hard to monetize the traffic to make the digital ad because we don't understand who they are exactly. It is why I think the big data should be the solution for that. We have to do a lot of effort how to understand our traffic, and then how to understand their behavior, and then finally we can like do more valuable ads. Like if not wrong, I mean like around 80% of the traffic of Internet Indonesia basically come from Telkom Group, but again we didn't monetize that because it is one of the biggest challenge, I think. It is why now the big data should be the next revenue driver. If we understand better our traffic, if we can understand better their behavior, we might can deliver them with the better.
Yeah, but
better
I mean, like big data is always has a crossover with privacy. So in one side, you guys want to collect as much as data as possible, but on the other hand, the user privacy is, although people argue that Indonesian consumer really don't care about privacy, but some people do. And what's your thought on that?
Actually, we can do like gathering information. Basically, can be shared to everyone. I mean, as long as it's not something personal.
I see.
It should be something. I mean, it is still legal, I think.
Okay. Yeah, you wanna add something?
Can also do this to customer consent. So first of all, like for our advertising, when customer receive, they will get an offer to get the customer consent to get the approval. And second is like Pak Teguh mentioned, we don't really share something personal or identify to a specific persons. What we capture is the whole general behavior.
General information,
yes,
not
that we
personal,
classified into micro segmentation.
Gotcha. So Tauseef, the telco business model in the next 5 years, what do you think?
Yeah, so before that, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think Google is? I asked the same question in MMA, Mobile Marketing Association, they all failed.
Is this a trick question?
No, it's a very important question. What is Google?
What is?
Google.
Is a data company.
No, it's an advertising company, right? So is Facebook. So is Twitter. So if you're asking about the future, right? If our telecom business is saturating, where is the future? Where the internet revenue is coming from? It's only coming from two areas, right? Mobile, from advertising and commerce. So if you were to ask me where the future is for us, advertising and commerce. Now the important thing that you raised, because this is actually driven by data, right? If you think about it, why are these two things important? Because they're linked with each other. Advertising drives commerce, and then commerce generates data that you can use to build better advertising, right? And we are building data profiles of our customers. In fact, telco databases are a bit old, because we just know the gender and people usually lie, right? So especially prepaid customers. So I don't know if you're a dude or a girl in our database.
Or a cat.
Or a cat.
Who knows?
Yeah. Or as they say, like everybody's a dog on the internet. So we're trying to enrich our databases, which is very important. So we have transaction records. We've started analyzing, seeing, calling patterns of our customers. If you're calling a car company every Friday, that means maybe you want to buy a car, right? That's good data set for us, and then we use it to serve relevant advertising to you. So big data actually helps responsible advertising. It's not about spamming. It's about two things. Making sure that the brand is targeting the right customer, because if I'm Procter & Gamble and I want to sell Head & Shoulder, you come to me and I say you don't want the ad coming to me, right? Yeah. I don't shampoo, okay? Yeah. Well, actually I do, but that's a different story. So if we have a data profile on a customer and say, okay, we can tell these guys are like, well, these are women and they, exactly, they have hair because they visit beauty salons a lot. We target them. So the brand's money is not wasted, and also the money is, the advertising is coming to the right person, right? Right? So we're not spamming them. So that's one modern thing. That's where big data comes into play. The second thing about privacy, people don't realize. Your data is more safe with a telco than it is with Google and Facebook. You know why? Because we are regulated. Indonesian telecom operators are regulated, right? So today, I cannot take my customer data and the number and give it to a third party. So even if we do something like enriching ads where a third party comes in and they're serving you an ad, right, on a web page. So right now, I'm concerned about my daughter, right? We don't censor internet in our home. She's 10 years old. Sometimes she's watching international websites and inappropriate ads come up. I'd rather she gets kids ads, right? Yeah. About Kumon or from maybe Disney, right? Not the princess bits, but. So if we have the right data profile, we're enriching that ad, we're targeting the right customer. So neither the customer is complaining, nor the guys who are sending the ads that are complaining. Plus, the data is safe with us because, I can go to jail if I'll leak my data, like the Indosat data, to a third party. So we have firewalls. we are regulated. Who regulates the guys outside Indonesia, right? Their governments, not the Indonesian governments. If they leak your data, there's no consequence to them, right? So that's important because I know these, like what the Ibu said also, these are new days, right? We're on learning, so we will make mistakes, right? Maybe people are not happy with off-tech. It seemed like a good idea at the time, right? Fine. The industry comes back to us and say, come on dudes, this is not fair. We say, okay, this is how we're going to fine-tune our model, right? It's too early in the day to start passing judgments. So the important thing is the industry, the advertisers, the publishers, and us to have a constant dialogue. And this is how you fine-tune a model, right? When Google started putting ads on their search engine, half the people were complaining, what the hell is this, right? And Google said, okay, we need to make money also, right? A dialogue happened, and then Google started putting in policies, right? And this is how it will evolve here. It's just too early to say what is wrong and right. What is important is to have a dialogue, right, going on between. So
okay, fair enough. So the next part of the question is I want to talk to you about the new government that we have in Indonesia. The current Ministry of Communications and Informatics, he used to work, his vast experience in telco. I think he worked at almost every telco that ever existed in Indonesia. Telkom, Telkomsel, Indosat as well. And obviously, this, I think I would assume it's a good thing for the telco industry, which is now a bit troubled with revenue and stuff like that. So what are your expectations from the current minister? He's going to be regulating you guys for the next 5 years. So do you have any specific expectations for Mr. Rudiantara, who I think will speak here tomorrow? I think, yeah. So let's start from Tauseef.
So he was our commissioner last, right? So I think it's great actually to have a regulator from the industry, right? Because what's important is he understands the issues that telcos face also, right? There's a big misconception in the industry that we wake up in the morning and we maybe try to make our customers' life difficult by offering them bad networks and spamming them. It's not like that, right? We are very responsible companies. But there are challenges. You need to balance revenue, cost, all of those things. So I think it's great to have somebody like that in that position, right? Because he understands the industry, he understands the challenges. So I think, and also he can stop, because he knows the insights. So if there's any bad practice happening from a telco, he can stop that also. So to me, I think it's going to be good for the consumers and good for the industry also. Hopefully he will set up policies that open up the market a bit more from an investment side also. Personally, I think it's too early in the game for Indonesia to start blocking e-commerce, advertising foreign investments there on the negative list. I hope he takes a look at that also. Open up the market now, you can close it later once you have enough.
Start regulating when it's already mature. I totally agree with you. And Pak Teguh, do you have any expectations?
I think Indonesia is a big country, and from Sabang until Merauke. Unfortunately, Telkom is as a state-owned company, we already spend a lot of money to build the network across the country. It is big money, and again that our competitor is not Indosat or XL. I think our competitor basically now is as you mentioned before, the giant Google, Amazon, whatever. And I hear that Google has a big plan how to not only compete with us but also how to kill us actually. For example, in the some area in the US, basically they already developed their own.
That's a big word.
Exactly. They already developed the cable, the satellite broadband with a free. It is our market. If they give them by free, I mean, no one of us can sit here, because no more telco in the world. It is why I think the minister can help us how to not to protect, but actually can help us how to deal with them. At least we have a better position how to deal with them. Not only in the telco side, but also in a digital ad, whatever. Because I hear that a lot of a digital ad local company, basically they have big traffic. I mean the biggest one. You know the name actually. I don't mention the name, but actually they just give them away to all traffic to the Google, because everything just, I mean, not even make money. It is why, I mean, the government can make some regulation how to get a better position with the Google or also the other digital company. I think it's my hope.
Bu Revie?
Not working.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I think it's in prepaid. Yeah. So I think because all of my colleagues, I think already have a lot to say. But additional point from me is that technology moves so fast. New innovation invented every day. Customer behavior changing very fast. So we need a regulator that also can oversee new technology, oversee new business model, and support local industry.
Okay, thank you very much. I think our time is up. Let's, I wish good luck for each and every telco here. Hopefully in 5 years, Google doesn't kill neither of you. So I'm gonna give let's give a warm applause for all the panelists. And I'm gonna give the stage back to Casey.